Hello and welcome to the Infinity Saga and Beyond MCU fan podcast. My name is Jordan Wiegand, and with me today is my good friend Jack Sewpersaud. How are you doing today, Jack?
Pretty good. A little tired after traveling around a bit, but feeling good at all. Yeah,
I kind of teased this in my last episode when I talked the DC vs. Marvel 1996 crossover comic event,
right.
that I was going to have you on here, and you had offered up to join the show this week because you went to Avengers Campus over in Disneyland, which just opened earlier this year, and you were going to share your thoughts on that. So I'm very excited to talk to you about that, especially because that's the only park that can have the Marvel stuff.
Right, because of the Universal, of course.
Yeah. So we'll talk about that, but first I do want to introduce the listeners to you. The way that I know you is that you have a soccer podcast called TheFinalThird with your friend AJ, and you guys had me on once. So you had Logan on, who listeners may know from some of our recaps we've done, but Logan and I also have a soccer podcast, so we kind of became friendly through that, and then I think I reached out a few months ago just asking if there's any other topics you enjoyed to have you on one of my million other shows that I have, and you said MCU, so this all worked out pretty well. So I'm going to ask some questions for you. One, your favorite MCU movie?
Ooh, favorite movie is easier than like favorite character and stuff like that, but favorite movie is Captain America: The Winter Soldier. I absolutely love that one. I'm really into politics and stuff like that, so the political intrigue that gets into that is really interesting. I thought the characters were all incredible, and it has some beautiful action sequences as well that just make it in my opinion, not just my favorite movie, but one of the best MCU movies.
Yeah, that was one of my wife's first ones to see in theaters. She did not watch any of these before we started dating. And then I wanted to see Winter Soldier, and I was like, okay, well, we have to watch First Avenger, and then I think we watched Avengers. And then we watched because we were on a time crunch then, and then it was time to go to the movies and see Winter Soldier. So that has a fond spot in my heart. But I don't know if I've ever said mine on here. I don't actually know if I have a favorite. I feel like that's a cop out because I just made a guest tell me their favorite. But I do lean towards. I do really lean towards the probably Endgame at this point in time. I remember when I first saw Endgame, I was like, Infinity War is better, and then the more I see Endgame, the more I like it. So it's something that continues to grow on me.
Yeah, that was the first one I saw in theaters. Yeah, that was the first one I saw in theaters on opening night. Like the other ones I saw opening weekend and stuff like that. But I actually saw it opening night because I was like, I'm not getting this spoiled. I've waited too many years for something to get spoiled for me. So that was an incredible experience. I loved that one. Yeah.
I am always on the Thursday showings nowadays.
Right. Yeah.
I didn't see Iron Man 1 in theaters. I was actually in my junior year of high school when Iron Man came out. That's how old I am. And that was everybody was talking about it, but I just didn't go to the movies that much back then because my parents would not usually go to the movies that often. I usually went for Harry Potter movies and Star Wars, if that, and the occasional Disney new release, of course. So
of course.
So we didn't get a chance to go to the movies all that often. So I was I saw Iron Man on DVD after I already heard about, Sam Jackson being in the end credits and them building this thing. And I saw Iron Man 2 in England, actually. My sister was living in
Wow, okay.
England at the time, and we went to visit her, and it was like opening week or whatever, and I went to see that. I made them stick around for the Thor hammer end credit scene, and my brother-in-law was like, "That's it. That's what we waited for." And I was like, "Yeah, Thor, man, Thor's coming." I didn't see Thor in theaters either because that was still around that time where I didn't get to go to that many. And I didn't have I didn't have friends either. I did not have a lot of friends. So if my parents weren't going to the movies, then I'm like, who else am I asking to go see this movie? And then once I started dating my girlfriend, I could just drag her to all those movies. You know, I'd be like, hey, we're gonna go on a date to these movies, and she was, happy to get out of the house or whatever. And then I saw Captain America: The First Avenger with my dad, and then Avengers. We went opening night. That was the first one I think I went to see opening night. Was Avengers 2012. So then from there on, it was like opening night every single time. Even when I was in Disney working there, I went to see like Thor: The Dark World with two of my friends who were working there at the time with me, and we went opening night there. So
nice.
Good times. Your favorite MCU character? And if it's not a superhero, then your favorite hero. But your favorite character?
It's close between two of them, and it's between Doctor Strange and Ant-Man. But I edge towards Ant-Man on this one just because my first exposure to like Marvel in general, like the Avengers at least, was when I was about 10. Like I wasn't allowed to see the original Iron Man because I was 8 when it came out. So that shows the difference here.
I was in high school and you were 8 years old.
Yeah, but so on Disney XD it was called or whatever, they had this show called Avengers Earth's Mighty Heroes, which was an animated one.
Yeah.
And it had like Iron Man, Thor, the Wasp, and the Hulk, and Ant-Man in it. And I was just like, oh, that's so cool. Grow and how you can shrink down super small. I loved him, and because of that, I ended up being like, yeah. When the Ant-Man movie came out, I was like, awesome, finally. I see him in all of these movies in live action. And of course, it helps that he's portrayed by Paul Rudd. And you can't really hate Paul Rudd that much. So, Ant-Man, I think is my favorite one.
That's a good one. I love Ant-Man. I love Paul Rudd, which is always funny because when my first thing with Paul Rudd is Friends. When he was Phoebe's boyfriend and like that was before that was before he was really big. So then anytime I saw Paul Rudd in anything else, I'm like, oh, it's Mike from Friends, But like now he's like so big that you're just like, it's Paul Rudd. But Ant-Man, I really enjoyed that. And what you said was funny too with the Earth's Mightiest Heroes. That was after my time, but I did know of the show because my cousin would watch it at times because he's like 6 years younger than me, so it was right around his time.
Yeah.
And what I like about these movies and these, the more content we get as we go, like when I was growing up, the heroes that were well known were Batman, Superman, Spider-Man, and the X-Men. That was it. That was all that was known. And now we're getting into this age where like my nephews are growing up and their favorite hero can be Rocket Raccoon. You can have Groot. And it's like these kids are growing up with Ant-Man, like you said, Ant-Man, which he was a joke a lot of the times when I was growing up because people would be like, did you know that they had an Ant-Man? And now he's taken seriously, It's great. And as we go, like some kid's going to grow up, and then maybe their first superhero movie that they go see is going to be Shang-Chi, which is awesome. It's just continuing. And then that's going to be somebody's favorite hero at some point. So it's just so great the way that continues to go. Do you have a favorite moment at all in the movies?
Yeah, I do. And I said like Doctor Strange is a close second in terms of like favorite hero for me. So for me, it's Dormammu, I've come to bargain. That's my favorite moment, I think, because it just shows how much different of a hero he is to everyone else. Like instead of like using brute force or like the Hulk or having like an armor, a metal armor that shoots rockets and stuff like Iron, he's using manipulation, time, magic, all of this to defeat, to that point, I think the most powerful villain we've seen in the MCU. And that was pretty incredible to see it. And I think it just starts out like really kind of serious, like he just dies immediately, and then he just comes back in, and I feel like it gets almost funnier as it goes along. So I just think that it's a really iconic moment for me, because I think it's just for some reason it sticks out more than every other villain in the MCU for me, just because of how unique it is.
Yeah, definitely. That's another good one. Good scene. Have you caught up on the Disney Plus shows? Do you have a favorite show?
Oh, of course. Yeah. For me, it's Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Is my favorite show, and the reason why is because I'm actually from a mixed race background. So my dad's black and my mom is white. So just how they tackle racism and other social issues in that show just really resonated with me, and it was just awesome to see, not just like Disney but Marvel tackle these issues, because I know I haven't like read the comics that much, but I know they tackle them to an extent in there. But it was cool to see that, especially at this point in time, them tackling such important issues. And plus, I mean, Sam Wilson as Captain America in a new suit, it's incredible. It's really good. I love that show.
The suit is so good. It is like really like one of the best suits that they've translated from page to screen. And like I keep looking for the Funko Pop of it, because I collect Funkos all over the place. So I really, really want that Funko of him in the new suit because it looks really nice. Like I have a Funko over here somewhere of Cap holding Mjolnir with this half broken shield, which is somewhere over there.
Yeah,
and I have Thanos and stuff. Yeah,
I only have one, and it's of N'Golo Kante, so that's not very relevant. But that's the only Funko Pop I have.
I want to get the Pulisic one. I keep saying I'll get it, but I haven't gotten it.
Yeah, there it is, right there, right up above my desk.
Nice. I have an Alex Morgan as well, because they came out with the women's line. Yeah. So you kind of mentioned it there, but the last question was, do you have a background in any of the comics, or just the films / cartoons?
Yeah, I mean, the cartoons was the first thing. Like I said, the Earth's Mightiest Heroes thing. I would wake up like on Saturday. I would usually record because I was lazy and didn't get up at 9 a.m. to watch it. But I would watch it every weekend, and then that ended at around 2012. So right when the Avengers movie came out, and my parents were like, a PG-13 movie, you're not 13 yet. And I was like, come on, please, come on. It's the Avengers. And since I know, so I was 12, so I was just like, come on, please, it's so cool, it's gonna be cool. And my dad was like, yeah, of course we can go. And so because he was super into like all the superhero stuff, especially X-Men, and he was super excited to see that. And so I got to see that in theaters, and then from then on out, I was just like, I watched every movie. So that's my background with it.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, I started with the as a kid, it was the Spider-Man 94 cartoon. The talking DC, you have like Batman the Animated Series in 92 that was groundbreaking at the time, and growing up with that, and then like the X-Men series too. The X-Men cartoon was huge back then, and all those shows had really great like heavy metal intros. I don't know what it was about the 90s, but they were always like, the Spider-Man and X-Men one just go hard.
Yeah, the intro to the Earth's Mightiest Heroes, because I was like, because there were a ton of Avengers shows around that same time period. I was like, which one is it? And I found it on Disney Plus, and I was like the intro music, it's so good. It's like a pop punk type thing, and it's like it's really good. It's my exact taste in music, and I was like, dang, no wonder I like the music I like. Just bring back happy.
I'll definitely have to check that out, because I don't think I've heard the Earth's Mightiest Heroes theme song, so I gotta check that out. But yeah, in the 90s, it was like the Pokemon theme song, X-Men, Spider-Man, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. All those theme songs were just like heavy metal, headbanging tunes. It was the in thing at that point.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into your trip then. So the went out to California, and you've been to Universal Studios East, right? Over here.
East, yeah, I've been. Yep, I have.
Right. So you've seen the their Marvel section.
Yes, I have. Somewhat lackluster display.
Lackluster
but yes,
nowadays.
It, yeah.
But I'll tell you, as a kid growing
Yes.
up, I go in there. I love that they have a comic shop there too. Like one of those stores.
Yeah,
that literally sells new comics, and I'd be able to go in there and just grab the latest issue or whatever. And that's how I did have comic background growing up because my dad actually used to get Spider-Man in the mail in the 90s. So I have a few of his issues over here.
Oh, wow.
And but I he didn't keep up with it at that point, and then I would get some at like flea markets or something, you know. But I never had like a run where like I'd get to be able to tell like, okay, this is where the story starts, this is the story arc we're on, and that kind of always put me off as a kid. But growing up now, I have the Marvel Unlimited app, which is $60 a year, and I get to read pretty much any comic that's out. And then I have the DC Infinite, DC Universe Infinite, which I just bought this year. That's $75, and I get to read like all these DC comics. So now I actually get to read the last few years. Really been catching up on all these like ones that people are like, oh, you got to read this story, you got to read that story, and it's been great. And but yeah, so you went west this time, and you said it was before the show. You said it was like your fourth time in Disneyland, California.
Yep.
I've only been twice.
I don't remember the first time. Yeah, don't remember the first time because I was 3, I think, or just turned 3. But yeah.
Jeez, I don't even want to know what year that was when you were 3. Jeez, that's probably what, 2003.
Yep, it was. Yeah,
that was like the first. I think I went around 2002, 2003 as well. That was my first time. So we were maybe
we saw each other
time. Yeah,
maybe
didn't know.
Maybe.
And then I went in 2016, and I proposed to my wife there. So, and then we did a honeymoon in Paris, Disneyland Paris. So
awesome.
On there. But yeah, so Avengers Campus just opened for people that don't know. Like the Guardians of the. So when I went in 2016, they had just closed. They had just announced. I was at the same time as Comic-Con that year. And in 2016, they had announced that they were replacing the Guardians of the Galaxy, replacing Hollywood Tower of Terror with Guardians of the Galaxy. So, like, I had, like, known that while I was leaving, pretty much, at that point. So that was interesting to kind of see, like, while I was there, like hearing that news and being like, oh geez, we're getting more Marvel stuff here. And that was kind of like the phase 1 of them adding, like they had like a little section near there somewhere. They had like a wall where you can meet like Captain America and Spider-Man when I went there. And that was cool. I got some pictures there, and I sometimes make those my profile pictures on Facebook whenever it's like a Marvel themed stuff. And then Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout launched. I don't even know what year that launched now. Probably 2017, 2018.
2017, yeah. It was Memorial
So it was
Day,
a quick turnaround. Yeah.
Watching the Yeah, I was watching the Disney Plus Imagineering series. That was, and I just finished the Tower of Terror episode. So it was 10-month turnaround.
Oh, is that the behind the attraction? Is that what it is?
Yeah, the attraction. That's what it is. Yeah.
Okay, I haven't gotten a chance to watch that yet, but I definitely want to check that out. So there you go. If you want to know more about that there's a Tower of Terror episode that talks about this. And they then just recently announced that they were doing Avengers Campus. And what was really funny about this is we did an episode of this on Behind the Dreams, I believe. One of our last episodes that we had done before the pandemic and stuff was like literally while it was breaking out, I think, overseas at that point, that they announced, oh, this summer of 2020, we're launching Avengers Campus, and they released like the info on the Pym kitchen and the Avengers headquarters, and they're like, it's like this was the first time we got a year, because it was the 2019 D23 that they actually announced, hey, we're doing this thing, and then 2020, like March, before everything started closing down, they were like, it's launching this summer. And then it was like a week later that they're like, we got to pause everything. And I was like, okay, I never know when we're going to get this. And I was like, there's no way they're going to open it this quickly after a pandemic, but they did. I was, kind of surprised that they were able to finish it and follow through with releasing it this quickly. And then they've launched a new ride with that called Web Slingers, a Spider-Man adventure. Did you get a chance to ride this? Because that's like one of those where you have to pre-book it, right? Like you have to get there early.
Yeah. I mean, you don't have to be in the park. You have, it's 7 a.m. and noon. You have to get into the app and you have to reserve it.
Just like
we failed to get it at Right. Yeah, exactly. We failed to get it at 7, but then at noon we were able to get it. And so I did get to ride it once. Unfortunately, on our second day in California Adventure, we didn't get it that time. But I did get to ride it once, which I'm happy about because it was a pretty cool ride. It really was.
Yeah, so tell us how this works then, because you don't have to use anything to shoot, right? It is literally your hand doing the Spider-Man symbol. Is that
right? Like you hold your hands like this and basically go up and down like that. It has hand tracking and everything. It's really good hand tracking, which I was super surprised with because like I'm big into like VR gaming and stuff like that. So I'm used to like having the controllers in my hand, but seeing them actually be able to like track your hand movements and everything, and like it was incredible because you web onto something and pull it back. You could hit levers, hit explosives. It was a full simulator thing. For those of you who know Disney, like think of like Toy Story Mania, but except you're using your hands completely for it. And you're in a car with 4 people on your side, and there's like 4 different missions that you complete. And so there will be like a voice over the intercom. Sometimes it's Peter Parker as Spider-Man, or I think it says Friday who says it, but they'll lay out the mission for you, and you have to try and do that with your team. You get scored on that, and it's like a competition type thing, but you also have to work together to make sure everything goes right. And it was really incredible. I will say I was hurt like crazy after that because you're just like doing this the entire time. So it hurts a little bit after a while. I was going to say, does
it hurt that much compared to like Toy Story Mania? Because man, my shoulder and will really hurt after that sometimes because you grip it, you got to pull.
It does a little bit because like doing continuous motion pretty much and doing it pretty quickly and to like, shoot as many webs to catch all these spider bots that have been released because, Peter was a bit too ambitious with his engineering and made them auto-replicate themselves. And that went out of control. And so you have to try and catch all of those things. And so, yes, your arms do get a little tired. I'd say it's not as bad as Toy Story, though, because that one, it can get a little bit much, but yeah, it's still definitely very fun and definitely worth it.
Awesome. Now there was originally released when the D23 was coming out that they said that there was going to be an Avengers e-ticket ride going through Wakanda and stuff. From what I read online is that's mostly paused for now because of one of the rumors was just money, right? And one of the other rumors was the fact that they don't know what to do with Chadwick Boseman passing away with it focusing on Wakanda so much. So I guess we'll see if that continues because I was going to try to hold off my trip until the land was complete because I don't know how many times I can get out to California, but I might have to go see this before that. Especially if it never happens, right? But then there's also did you get a chance to look at like this ancient sanctum? They have like the Doctor Strange, your guy, right? Did you get a chance to check this out?
I did get to see the sanctum like itself, and they have a bunch of cool illusion art on the ground. They have all of like the different texts and everything that he reads through in the library, of course, and so they have all of those out there. But unfortunately, I plan to watch like 6:30 edition of the show. But for some reason, when I got back to the park, because Disneyland, of course, you can walk back to your hotel really easily.
Yeah.
They had canceled the show for some reason by the time like I had gotten back, and I looked at my app when I got in there, and I was like, they got rid of like 4 of the shows, and I was really sad about that because it was our last day in the parks and everything. And I was like, dang it, I just missed it, and that was really unfortunate. But I did get to see when I went into their front of their Ant-Man out there, so I did get to see Ant-Man, so that was a bit of a consolation for me, I guess you could say.
Yeah, I'm just pulling up a list of characters in Avengers Campus because there is apparently a whole bunch you can meet.
Right,
like you said, you met
they're
Ant-Man.
all over. Yeah.
Did you get to see the Spider-Man show at all? That his little with the robot flipping through the air?
Yeah, I did get to see the animatronic. It was pretty cool just seeing it like go through the air and everything, because the Imagineering story on Disney Plus. They showed like the prototype of that and everything,
without
and then
knowing
I was like,
what it was.
wow,
yeah,
that's right. And I was like, that's pretty cool. I wonder what it will be. And then I saw that like in a video before, and I was like, that's what it was. And so seeing it in person, that was pretty cool. I was in line for the Web Slingers ride when I saw it just go overhead, and I was like, oh wow, there he is.
It looks really good. Like I saw clips of it online, and it just looks like it's amazing what they can do nowadays with technology.
Right, yeah.
But yeah, I'm seeing all these photos here. They have like they just also have Sam Wilson as Cap now, starting to make appearances.
Yep, I did get to see him. I saw him, and I also saw, and to anyone who was really into Loki, this will be interesting. I saw President Loki as well.
Oh,
so
yeah, he started. You were there at the right time because they only started having him come out. I literally think the week that episode premiered.
Exactly. So yeah, I was kind of there at the right time, and I was able to see him, and like most of my family isn't like super into the MCU, but my dad is, so he and I just went out and explored that area. My siblings went to like the Pixar area and everything like that. So I didn't. Oh, it's President Loki, so cool. And he's like, what's that? And so I had to like explain that and everything because he hadn't watched Loki yet. So I had to try and keep it spoiler free and everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, I saw that. They had speaking of the TV shows, they had an area where you could take a picture with the Shield and Samuel Waynes in the new suit.
Oh, nice.
For Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and they had a place where you could like place your phone down, and it would like take a picture of like the set of WandaVision, but through like a black and white filter on an old beat. So they had something for like every TV show, and I posted on my Twitter as well. I saw on TikTok the day before going there that they had a Miss Minutes like a statue up there, and I showed that to my family, and I was like, I need to find it, and so I did. And took some pictures next to that because so they had songs on all of the TV shows, and it kind of it shows like how much more attention they're paying to all these details and giving people in there, even though technically there's only 2 rides that you can go on in Avengers Campus, but giving all these other cool things to look out for that people, like fans of the MCU, the shows would eyes and want to look out for.
Yeah, they had a Miss Minutes pin when I was in Disney World, because I was there during episode 2, and that thing sold out within the week that I was there, and I was very upset because I was going to get it like the last day I was there, and it wasn't there anymore. I couldn't find it, but I got a TVA pin that I got, like the logo of the TVA. Yeah, so that's cool. Yeah, so they had the Ancient Sanctum, so that's cool. That's a show. You know, they actually used to have Doctor Strange do a show in Disney World too, like around 2016 after his movie came
Right.
out.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was really cool. But it wasn't as like he didn't have like in Hollywood studios, they didn't like build anything for him. It was
Right.
just kind of like on the street, pretty much. What is this Avengers headquarters building? Is this where characters are mostly just sitting? Is it supposed to be a shop in there, or is that where the ride was supposed to be? Do you know?
Yeah, so that's where
top?
the ride. Yeah, that's where the ride is supposed to be. I've heard
Okay.
in the future, that's where they're going to build like the ride building. But for now, throughout the day, you can see different heroes and villains come out onto like this little balcony area, and they'll do like fight sequences throughout the day. And a little bit of context for like Avengers Campus that's probably a little bit important. It exists in like a parallel or alternate universe of the MCU where the events of Infinity War, the snap, the blip, never happened. So
right.
that's the whole context for this. That's why, like, you see Iron Man out. You see all these other characters.
It's a way for them to have all these characters that are dead hang around because
exactly right.
Their mistake with Galaxy's Edge is that it takes place specifically between episodes 8 and 9, and you cannot have Mandalorian characters there. And now they're like, well, how do we get around that? This is how you get around.
Yeah. So yeah, they made it pretty time in that regard. But yeah, I can't remember was it. I think I saw Captain America fighting, I want to say Red Skull up on the balcony one time during the day. And I've seen some other videos like of Black Widow fighting like just
Taskmaster.
I think just
I just saw that.
Yeah,
too.
Taskmaster. Yeah. I haven't seen Black Widow yet, unfortunately. So I need to still see that one, but I know I've seen some other clips but that's basically what it is. The headquarters. That's where the ride building is supposed to be apparently in the future. And that is where you'll just see a bunch of characters like doing awesome fight scenes.
Awesome. Let's go to your other boy, the Pim Test Kitchen. How was, did you get a chance to at least walk through here or eat there or anything like that?
I did. I tried the what's it called? The not so little chick, which is kind of common because it's like
huge
it's a really
sandwich.
small bun. Yeah, right.
It's
not a huge chicken sandwich. It's a huge piece of chicken with two comically small buns. Really, that's that. But it's really cool in there because they have right as you look in, there's like a little thing that shows like they have. I think it's called the atomic pretzel or something like that. And it'll like you'll see like the mini pretzels go in and then giant pretzels go out the other end. Obviously they're not like the actual pretzels that you order, but it's kind of like it before it got shut down in Toontown in Disneyland, they'd have like the gag factory or whatever, like their bands in and then gags would come out. But it's like it's a cool little feature that kind of builds the atmosphere of it. And it was a very long line. So that's one thing to note.
Wow.
And just in general, Avengers Campus was a long line because
the
Guardians of the Galaxy ride, since it wasn't a virtual queue, I think the highest wait time I saw was 300 minutes. Jeez. So that was we got in there in a time when it was 50 minutes, luckily. So nice. that was pretty nice. Yeah.
So you did get to ride that one too. I have not been able to. I haven't gone since they changed this. I'm not a fan of Tower of Terror, but I know when I go there, I have to ride this at least once.
Right.
What was your thoughts on
I'd say
Mission Breakout?
So this isn't my first time going on it because I went in 2019 as well. So to see like the construction of Avengers Campus before that, I remember like trying to jump over the wall with my phone above to like try and snap some pictures and everything. I got to ride Mission Breakout then, and I will say if you didn't like Tower of Terror before, they've actually changed the ride mechanics a little bit, so it's not as like much of a like scary type fall. It's more a fun ride, and so one thing I'll note is like they have a really impressive, at least to me, animatronic of Rocket in the pre-show, where like they used to show the Twilight Zone thing, everything like that, and it's awesome because it's the soundtrack of Guardians of the Galaxy. It random picks one of 6 songs, and like from about, I think, 20 different show scenes in it that you can go between, and you always get 4 of those every ride and 1 random song, and so pretty much whenever you ride it, it's going to be a different experience, and it makes it really awesome. I think I can't remember what my favorite one is. I didn't get my favorite song on it this time. I think they have "Come and Get Your Love," which I really on that one because I feel like it doesn't quite fit the ride itself, but it that's what makes it even better. But it's just really cool to see because I'm like you, I don't really like Tower all that much. I didn't care for the Twilight Zone that much, but I love Guardians of the Galaxy, and it's awesome to see how they repurposed this, and knowing now that they turned it around in like 10, 11 months makes it all the more impressive, I think.
Yeah, I'm not a I like Twilight Zone. I like the aesthetic of Tower of Terror, but I do not like the surprise drop. Because like I'll ride Doom's Towers and Universal, and that shoots you up because I know I'm going up. Like it's not a surprise to me. So if this is a little better than that, I think I'll be able to handle it.
It's a little more predictable with the drops, I'd say. The unpredictability comes from like the music, the show scenes, and everything like that. So I'd say it's definitely a little bit better.
Yeah, I'll have to ride it the one time anyway, and then if I like it, I'll ride it again. But
yeah, provided the line isn't the same as when I was there. Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of funny because it's been a ride that's been open for 4 years. That I think it's funny, but I guess some people maybe first time there, or they're like, "Hey, we're hanging out in Avengers Campus. Let's ride this ride." Like I don't know what would make that such a increase.
That's what I thought. Like people are coming to California Adventure for Avengers Campus, and then they're like, "Okay, so we have a virtual queue for the newest ride here, so why don't we ride the other ride that's here?" Because California Adventure, my siblings really enjoy it because their favorite rides like the Incredicoaster, the Incredibles themed giant roller coaster now. But I'm personally not as huge of a fan of it just because I feel like it has less to do compared to Disney parks. But yeah, I feel like everyone was just condensed in that one side of the park, and you could clearly tell, like walking through Avengers Campus versus the rest of it, there was a pretty stark contrast. No pun intended.
I was gonna say I really do enjoy California Adventure. That was one that I enjoyed more this time than the first time I went. First time I went, it was like not as well themed. I think like the first time it was like the entrance was like the Golden Gate Bridge, and it was just a mix mash of everything California. I mean, but now I do like the Cars ride. I have not rode Incredicoaster. I rode what it was originally. I forget what it was called.
California Screaming.
Yeah. I enjoyed that without the Incredibles theme. I'm not a big fan of Pixar Pier. I don't think everything needs to be themed as a thing.
Yeah.
But I guess that's the way they're going. But yeah, so anything else that stood out to you in Avengers Campus?
Well, I've been saving this, but I did get this at Avengers Campus, which is...
Oh, that's the drink holder, right?
Yeah, the Iron Man gauntlet. It lights up with all of the Infinity Stones on there. And it comes with this little cup in there. You get I got a fit. So like there were people everywhere just walking around like sipping out of these. And it's kind of cheap plastic. I will say that, but I feel like it's like a cool enough display piece and stuff. So like you could like put this on a desk or something, and or use it as like a drink holder, and like you can like while watching the next MCU show that released on Disney Plus, what if you can slide in your drink and then enjoy that. And so it's a cool little thing. It was $25, which given that sodas cost like $5 out there, you're paying like $20 for the gauntlet, which that in a collectible gauntlet is like 200, 150, $200. I'll pay $20 for this because I'm a broke college student.
Well, you know how much the sodas were when I worked there? They were like $2.75 per a bottle.
They've gone up a little bit.
They've gone up a lot in the last 8 years. I'll tell you that much. They've gone up a lot quickly because 8 years ago it's my first time there, and then even 2015, I think they were still around $2 something or maybe $3 at most, but now they're like $4.75 for a bottle. Of soda. That goes up. The pay stays the same. Welcome to 2021. Awesome. Well, thanks for jumping on here and telling us all about that. I'm living vicariously through you here.
I'm
not
glad
MCU related.
It's fun.
Not MCU related, but I want to know, did you get a chance to check out Galaxy's Edge on the West Coast?
On the West Coast, yes, I did. Yeah, I've actually not seen Galaxy's Edge on the East Coast yet because our Disney trip that we did plan was spring break 2020. Yep. So right when everything closed down, and so I had never experienced it on the East Coast, but I've now gotten to see it on the West Coast. And yeah, Rise of the Resistance. I'm guessing you got to go on that down in Disney World, but it's incredible. I hope like if they make an Avengers ride eventually, the e-ticket attraction they were talking about, I hope it's like Rise of the Resistance, because that has got to be the coolest ride I think I've been on in Disney parks in general.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It was I rode it for my third time this last trip. I think it was my third time, and it's just a whole bunch of fun. And I really hope that even if it's not like that, if this e-ticket is made and it's good, like I want to be able to get some Avenger stuff over here. And we're going to be having Guardians open up whenever that's done here on the East Coast.
2022, I think, is what I've heard. But
it was supposed to be. It was supposed to be this year in time for the 50th, but then the pandemic happened, so they had to pause it for a bit. So I think it is 2022. I know people that are working there. I'll say that much.
I think they're trying to get it in time for the Epcot 40th anniversary. That would be so because it opened 1982. So so I think that's what they're going to aim for. And I was hoping that it would be in time for like January 2022 so I could go on it, but I'm excited for that one because the ride vehicles they've listed out for that and like shown off look really cool, and I'm excited to see what they're able to do with that, because I don't know about you, but I wasn't a big fan of Ellen's Energy Adventure. It was good to cool off. Don't you dare. It was a bit long. That's all I'm saying. It was just a little bit long. It was long.
It is very long. You didn't like watching Ellen get on Jeopardy and then go back in time to see dinosaurs and then finish her Jeopardy quiz, is what you're saying?
I wasn't a huge fan as a smallish child. I wasn't a huge fan of that.
No, it was not the best. It's good for them to put something that can that'll actually eat up crowds, because that one was empty all the time.
A walk on. I don't think I ever saw a full car go through that on my entire time through there.
Yeah, no. Well, you know what? They really lucked out with the 40th anniversary of Epcot being literally next year, so they could be like, well, we'll do it for that instead, like, because that is they're opening up Ratatouille soon. I think that got a date of the fall, but I
think
when
September maybe.
Yeah, it might be September. When I was just last there, I could walk up to the back where you're gonna walk into it, but there was a wall up there. Like I could walk further than you ever could before, and kind of like check out where that's gonna be. And I could see the Gusteau's sign lit up at night. But I rode that when I was in Paris, so it's not like a new
awesome.
ride for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm excited to get Guardians over here. There's a section in, do you know the Odyssey in Epcot? It's like where those bathrooms are by the Mexico Pavilion. And it's this
Right.
like
Yeah.
old building that is never really used that much, but they use it now for like festival stuff. And there is a room in there that is just like really, like it has a gray layout of Epcot on it. And then there's like the wraparound screen. And you go in there and it plays like this thing of like what's coming to Epcot. And these lights are all around and it like projects things onto this gray plain Epcot. And it like matches whatever they're talking about or highlights a section that they're talking about. And there's a spot where they talk about the Guardians ride. And I just sit there and watch it every time I go now. Like I went in there a few times this last time and just sat in there and watched it. It's nothing special. It's a guy who's an alien from Xandar who's just like, hey, we're looking forward to having a pavilion at Epcot. And then Rocket comes in and he like unplugs it. And then he plugs in Peter's, tape player. And then Groot's dancing and you're getting like, all right, Guardians. And then like, that's it. That's really all that they do.
Okay. I'll have to check out.
But it sets the mode. It sets the mood, like when you're there. I took a video of it, and sometimes I just watch it when I'm sitting at home, not doing anything. The exciting life of Jordan here, giving everybody my secrets, what I do in my spare time.
I'd probably do the same thing.
You're a broke college kid, right? You didn't get a chance to buy one of these spider bots, right? Aren't they like $200?
No, I did not. I saw a bunch of kids playing with them, and they look. I don't know. I'm not sure if I'd buy them because I'm not sure what I'd use them for after I get them. But they seem fun for like the kids and everything. And, I'm like,
they're like the droids.
They're fun. What? Right. Yeah. I personally wouldn't be spending my money on it, but I can see the appeal, and I can see why Disney makes them because I'm sure they make a ton of cash with it.
Oh yeah. I got a chance to build a lightsaber when I was down there this time.
Oh, okay.
That's $200 that I got to spend on that. But yeah, that was fun, and I was like, I don't think I'll ever be able to do the spider bot. Maybe, we'll see. I'll have to see if there's any actual practical use for it at all.
Yeah, that's what I'm not so sure about. I'm not sure.
Probably just sitting on my
I know
desk
if you have like, if you have two of them, I know you can make them battle, but like, then you pay for two of them. But so that's just something to consider. And if I'm remembering correctly, there's like two versions. They have like one where you can like it's like $40 and it just does random things. You can't control it. And then there's like a $90 or $100 one that actually gives you a controller and everything. So if you wanted a cheaper option, I mean, you could go for that. But yeah, I saw so many kids like in Rise of the Resistance, the line. Of course, it broke down for a little bit while we were waiting in the line
every day
because it seems to always do that. But I saw a bunch of kids in front of me, like it was a family, and there were like three of them with their bots and with their different armors and stuff like that, and they were like having fun with that. And I was like, dang, now would be a really good time to have one of those.
Yeah. Just pull it out and start beating the little kids with it. Like, let's battle them.
Yeah. A new, more expensive Beyblade.
Yeah, there you go. So I guess that's about it, right? You said nothing else really jumping out.
I don't think there's everything. I mean, the only other thing is they have a massive shop in a different courtyard outside of Avengers Campus, and they had a bunch of collectibles there. If you end up going there, you'll want to check it out because they do have some comic books for sale there, and a bunch of collectibles. So if you do make your way down there, that's where you're going to want to go to. It's by the Monsters Inc. ride, so it's kind of in a random place. But yeah, they have that down there. Massive shop. They have, tons of cool photo opportunities in there as well. Yeah, so yeah, it was a pretty cool place. I didn't end up buying anything from there. I was actually looking for the Funko Pop of Sam as Captain America as well, because that's one of those that I want. But I didn't find that, so I ended up leaving there empty-handed.
Dang, yeah, I'm gonna have to check that out whenever I get a chance to go. I'm hoping within the next year or two.
Yeah.
Hopefully, let all this COVID stuff settle down before I go over there.
Yeah.
Save up some money and get the full experience, hopefully. Because I think they're going to be able to have where you have meet and greets and not just
instead of just standing.
Yeah,
standing 6 feet in front of them and getting a picture.
Yeah.
I mean, it did make Ant-Man look smaller, so I mean,
there you go.
It does kind of accomplish the purpose. Exactly. Yeah, that's all it was.
So if you want to follow the show here, it's on Twitter at TO Infinity Saga, Facebook.com/Infinity Saga Beyond, or email us marvelplusrecaps@gmail.com with any questions or comments, concerns. Where can people follow you, Jack?
I mean, they can follow my Twitter at JCPrasad16. Or you can, if you're interested in soccer podcasts at all, you can follow at TheFinalThird Show on as well. And there's a few episodes in there with Jordan on there. So if you want to check out his episodes on there, feel free to do that.
Yeah, don't listen to me and Logan. Listen to Jack and AJ if you want your soccer fix. Yeah, but it's nice having you on. We'll have to see if we can get you on for some of these, the million Disney Plus shows that are coming in here.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Have you pick a show and do a recap. Could be some fun.
That would be awesome.